Aloha!
Aloha!
And welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Upper Kapoho on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Hooray! Yay, this is so fun. Thank you, everyone, for showing up to my last Wisdom Dialogue. This is so cool of you. It just came to me yesterday that I wasn't going to be doing Wisdom Dialogues anymore. It was really exciting, you know, and I hope you guys all feel excited about it too. I mean, you know, Melanie just said it's graduation day. And I think, yeah, it is. It's like it's graduation day, everyone. Like, we've been talking about it long enough, and the world is meaningless. There's not a whole lot more to say about that, although we come here and we talk about it, and they're just like, that's just what it is. Everything that you perceive, you made up. Everything, it's like, I chose for it to be this way. I wanted it this way. I would have it like this. That's why it's like this. Whatever it is, and it doesn't matter what different circumstances come about. It's all the same. So make it all the same. If it's all the same in your mind, then none of it's a problem. Nothing's a problem. So, yeah, it's graduation day. Like, you guys, whenever you want it, it's here for you. And it's not like the teachings stop. It just like goes on a more subtle level. That's all. It doesn't have to be transmitted in words like this. It doesn't have to, for the openness to be there. Of course, if you want it, the stuff's on YouTube. There's a shitload of material. Okay, there's probably over 1,000 hours. I don't know. I didn't count them, but there's plenty of material. Who knows? It could start up again. It could go in a different form. I have no idea. I'm not in charge of it. I didn't make the decision. So it's just kind of like it's like, the arc of joy. And that's what the title that came to me today, the arc of joy. And it shows you, and that's kind of like the guidance, it doesn't matter what it is that occurs on the surface. And maybe whatever it is, it seems like it looks like a reason why. There is no reason why. There never is. So when you take it as the world is meaningless and I would have it like this, you're following this arc of joy. You can see it. You can see where it's going. It's feeling. It's a feeling sense. And so when it came to me yesterday, just out of the blue, what would it be like to not have Wisdom Dialogues? And all of a sudden, it felt very light. It just felt very light. It's like the thought occurred to me. It's like, oh, yes. And, and I could see how there's some defensiveness about it. I love you. I could see how there's some defensiveness about it, because there's a thought that crops up that's like, well, how are you going to help the people then? And it's like that. They don't need that. They don't need me to do anything. I don't have any duties. I do not have any duties in the world. So the peeps don't need me. They maybe are having fun. They're maybe getting some entertainment, but it's their own inner guide that's showing, your own inner guide that's showing you the way. It's not me. Like this body isn't necessary to like show up to Wisdom Dialogues for everyone to get enlightened. Basically, anyone who wants it, it's right there for you, and it comes through any kind of upset feeling. And if you're doing any kind of condemning of anyone or anything, that's an upset feeling. That's an upset feeling. Even thinking that they're treating you a certain way, because it's like it's not being honest. It's not as admitting, I made it like this. I made it like this. I want it like this. This is how I want this to be. It's more like it's directional, but the mind takes care of all the direction. It's just up to you to relax. so that there's no making wrong, making guilty. It's all set up for that. It's all set up for making someone wrong, making someone guilty, making something into a problem. You know, and when you're willing to see that it's all you, you can rest and let everyone off the hook or whatever it is it seems like they might be doing. See? And then the decisions and everything like that, those are made for you. The decisions are always made for you. You don't have to decide. It's not a, you know, it was just like for me with Wisdom Dialogues, it came to me, and then all of a sudden it felt lighter, and then it's obvious. It's just obvious. And then in leaving everything open too, like it's open, I'm open. Chitta mentioned maybe once a month. And you know, I didn't even think about that. It's funny. So who knows? You know, it's just kind of like meandering. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't have this striving to be something or do something or have something in the life, you're just meandering in joy. You don't have to come to any conclusions. You know, any decisions, they're just made. Why'd you make that decision? Oh, let me see if I could tell you a big story about it. You know, it's like the stories aren't, if we stop spinning the stories, this world will fall. If we stop spinning the stories, the world will just drop. It's like I'm watching the show just like you are. And I'd be lying to myself and you if I came up with some reasons. Plus, I'd be totally grasping at air. I don't know. You know, when someone asks you, for instance, why'd you do that? Why'd you make that decision? Do you know your mind just goes out and starts grabbing at shit? It's totally just like made up. There's only this moment. Nothing happens. It's just completely made up. See? The decisions are made for you. It's kind of like they're made in advance, and then you're watching them play out. Yes.
Yeah, one example that comes up for me is a lot of times people ask me, why did you come to Hawaii?
Uh-huh.
And I usually have a pregnant pause. And then I make up a story.
Yeah, then you make up a story.
Make up a story. It depended on who it was based on the story.
Right.
You know?
It always changed.
Based on, you know, what are they interested in? You know?
Yeah.
How can I make this interesting?
Right.
You know? Whereas in my heart, it was, you know, why did you ask? You know?
Yeah, and then in finding yourself telling the story, and just in your awareness that you are telling a story, that's enough. Yeah. You know, you don't have any kind of control over your actions or anything. It's just, you know, that's kind of like the content of the world. That your actions are like the content of the world, the content of a dream. So it's not like you have any control over that. You're just watching and in recognizing behind the scenes, recognizing that you are telling a story. Yeah. You are making it up. Yeah. And that's it. That's how it stops. It kind of like it starts to collapse on itself. And eventually the world will just be seen through. And you know, that's why these big things come up, like these big fearful things for people, so that you can get sucked back into something. As if something in the world is fearful. See? Like, oh no, they're doing such and such. It's all for that. It's all for the ego to kind of like get a hook. Get a hook on you. And you know, you can use that. It could be so powerful. Like that's something, especially when you feel the fear a lot and you feel the fear really intensely or minorly, you know, there's no difference between the two, but the more intense you feel the fear, it seems like the more difficult it is to give it up, to let that be healed, to admit that I'm making this up. I'm making this whole world up. It's like, you know, there's not any difference between what you saw in your mind and the world that's being made out of it. And it's really awesome and it's fun, because as soon as you feel fearful and you apply the truth to that, you apply the truth to whatever it is you feel fearful about, you get relief. It's so easy. It's so easeful. It's only thinking that you can get this world to be the way you want it that would make you want to pursue something with a fearful thought, as if it's not going to be the way we want it to be. You know, we get these bleak images with the masks and stuff like that. And it's like, who gives a fuck? Who cares but an ego? No one cares but an ego. No one minds. Really. Because nothing's happening here. Nothing changes that's real. All the changefulness that we see, it's kind of like an opportunity. It's an opportunity to bring sanity back to the mind. That's all it is. It's not anything other than that. So if you see any kind of beauty in it, that's nothing compared to the beauty of reality. You know, the whole thing is propped up on an illusion that you separated yourself. So that's all it's for, and that's all it's going to keep on showing you. And here's the thing, people get so resistant to seeing that the world is meaningless in the moment where some kind of upset is arising. People get so resistant to that. And you know, if you feel that resistance to it, good. You don't have to give into it. That is the resistance of the world. That's the resistance of the world. And you know, yay. In A Course in Miracles, there was one quote that particularly came up for me this week, and it was, the miracle establishes that you dream a dream. The miracle establishes that you dream a dream and that none of its contents are true. So, you know, the gripping to the world is not wanting it to be a dream, wanting it to have reality. All comes from not wanting to let go. And it's the holding on to the stories, the holding on to the image that keeps the whole world propped up. And it's never going to get any better as a world. You know, it's just like, forget about that. Because it's a projection of the mind. The world is just neutral. The world is just totally neutral. And the more there's this striving to make the world a better place, the more it seems to go to shit. That's the way that works. Because the world is being made meaningful. See, if the world isn't made meaningful, then you don't have all this stress and tension on your mind, and then the world can seemingly improve, but that's because it's dissolving, really. It's kind of like the light is starting to show through it. That's the only way it's getting any better. It's like the light of your awareness is starting to show through it. That's all. So these big things, like this big event in the world that seems to be, you know, on everyone's minds, it's to bring that up. It's, you know, it's like an ego game. It's kind of like a last effort to try to just grab you. You know, if that didn't work before to get you to uphold the world, then how about this? What about wearing masks for the rest of your life? How's that? What about if the army comes around and gives you a shot? Then is the world meaningful? What will it take? What will it take to make this meaningful to you? See? That's the ego's game. Don't buy into it. It's fun. It's kind of like a test. It seems like it seems like it's just the start of a brand new thing. It seems like it's just the start of a brand new awareness.
Yeah, so isn't it all about we're in the planet of the egos, that the ego is based on fear, and so the idea is what makes life meaningful is love. And it seems like the appearance is Aldous Huxley called society organized lovelessness. So we see the lovelessness, the fear, everyone's afraid of disease, 6 feet apart, no hugging. The fear level has increased. So it seems like that as the fear level increases, the appearance of separation, everyone's got to be more separate than ever, that's going to bring a call to love, that love is going to be born into the world, and it's love that gives anything in existence meaning.
That's for sure. Thank you, Bob. So what it comes down to is what it's for. What it's for. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. What is it for? Is it for condemning? Getting my way? Knowing what's right? Or is it for healing? It could be the worst thing in the world, the worst thing you can think about, but it's all the same. Different ideas are formed into these scary scenarios in the world just so you can let some healing happen. But no one's touched by any of it. No one's harmed by any of it. And everyone's already healed, really. That's a funny thing. It's like it already occurred. Like that's why the outcome is totally certain. Like it already occurred. It's just a matter of like waking up from the dream. The healing was instantaneous. You can say it was instantaneous. As soon as you thought you separated yourself, it's like it's known that you didn't. It's already known in the mind that you didn't. But there's this sense after identifying with the ego, after identifying as an ego, that your life is as an ego. That's not your life. This isn't life. Dream is not life. It's not the same. And the ego has tricked the mind into thinking that there's nothing beyond this quote unquote life. You're just gonna cease to exist. Or the other one, you're gonna just keep on reincarnating forever. Aunt's face, like that sounds shitty, you know? How much more times can we go around the shit show? Where nothing is happening. And it's already been played millions of times. It's already been played out. We've already played this. That's why, it's done, because it's already been played out enough times. It's just like there's this identification with the ego and this fear of dying. And it's like it's like this deep fear of just not existing. Not existing as in you don't exist like that. You just totally don't exist like that. The ego doesn't want to see itself as meaningless. And as an ego, when you're identified with the ego, it's as an ego. You're as an ego, okay? And we're all identified with the ego. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a body thing going on here, okay? Where it's like, it seems like you actually have a body, right? So we're all identified as an ego, and that's why we can uphold a body. So as we're identified as an ego, it's very fearful to see that we are meaningless as we know ourselves. We're completely meaningless. This is not the way we are known in the mind, in the pure mind. You can say in the mind of God, this is not the way we're known. The way we made ourselves up, it's as if we can create ourselves. We cannot create ourselves. We're not capable of that. But we have a dream that we create ourselves, and the dream is based on guilt, so that self you create also gets destroyed. But first, it gets sick, it endures pain, it endures conflict. It's all punishment. And the ego's been talking to this confused aspect of the mind that thinks it separated itself and going, oh no, it's so beautiful. Oh no, look, it's so beautiful. Look, there's a flower over there. Don't you want to keep it? Look, all the beauty that you can perceive in it is from you, comes from you. If it didn't have any beauty, it would kind of be like committing suicide over and over again, probably. But all the beauty that you can perceive of it is your own beauty, and still it pales into comparison to how you'll see yourself. See, even the beauty that you perceive, it's a perception. So it's like there's so much more to you. There's so much more to who you are. There's so much more to creating. And there's no creating here. This isn't creating. Dreaming isn't creating. Creating in creation lasts forever. It has no flaws. Flaws are all a matter of perception. So's death. Making things up. Yes.
So, I'm a child of God.
Okay.
What is it?
What do you mean, what is it?
I don't know. You said it's meaningless, so I'm like, I'm not just a regular human. I'm a child of God. I'm
Yeah.
a divine being.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not mere flesh. And
Yes.
bones. I'm a spirit.
Right.
And nobody can hold me down.
Yes. Yes.
My spirit roams.
Uh-huh.
Is that me making it up that I'm beyond me? Or what is that? Like when we say,
Well, yeah,
like,
you're
I'm a child of God.
well, you are. You could say we're all the one child of God. We're all the one child of God. There's no separation between us. We thought in separation and then made multiples.
It's like individualized God presence.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Yeah, so that's a thought that's not about the world. It's not a worldly thought. So it's coming from another thought system in the mind that's designed to help you transcend this other thought system. So it's not like all those thoughts that are given to you, they're not meaningless. They are an illusion. You don't need those thoughts in creating. They're given you as a gift to help see through. But all thoughts about the world and what we're making of the world, it's completely meaningless because it's all an interpretation of energy. And the interpreter is looking for specifically evidence of the separation. So that's all that can be perceived over and over again. And it can be fun to have that perception. When you know who you are, when you're knowing who you are, it's super fun. And, and I talked about, but before, I've had conversations with you guys before saying, you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. So staying in not knowing who you are, not knowing who you are, and letting yourself be shown. See? So you're not grabbing onto a concept of it. There's not a concept about who am I. You're always open to the teaching, and you're always allowing yourself to be shown. If you ever have something to tell someone, like that, stop. Get the sense, get the feeling sense of that. Or any sense that someone did something to you. That's really big. Any sense that anyone did anything to you. They should be treating you a different way. That's really fun to work with in relationships, especially close relationships, because people tend to say, hey, I don't like the way you do this. Or, hey, Can you like stop, I don't know, leaving your dirty dish on the counter or something like that? Just get the feeling. It's okay if it comes out, whatever it is, but get the feeling, I made it like this. I made it like this. I would have it like this. That's why it's like this. That's why it looks like this. And it's all for healing. It's all for commanding a miracle, basically. Remember that quote that I shared a little bit ago about what a miracle is, and really let that sink in, you know, what a miracle is. A miracle, what is it? What is it? There's one word that's just, oh yes, establishes. The miracle establishes you dream a dream and that none of its content is true. It's really simple.
Say it in another way.
Do you have a question about it?
I just wanted to hear it in another way. I didn't quite get
Okay. So when the world is looked at as having reality, then it becomes responsible for the way you feel. Like, let's say you feel bored. Let's say you feel bored. If there's a reason in the world for you feeling bored in your mind, then you're not establishing that it's just a dream that you made up. You're not establishing that in your mind. You're establishing that something in the world is responsible for the way you feel, and that's denying the miracle. So the miracle is basically just allowing it. You're just allowing it to come by recognizing that, oh, I don't feel bored because of that. I feel bored because I wanted to feel bored, and I gave myself that perception to give myself that boredom feeling.
That goes along with it's all good.
It goes along with that. Yes, yes. And I'm talking about putting it into practice, though, in the practical sense, like of the particulars of your life, actually putting it into practice. Whenever you get that little sting and sense that something should be different. You know, we got one really loud refrigerator in our house. I don't know, maybe they're all loud. But there's one in one particular corner. We have 3 huge commercial refrigerators. We're doing an essential oil business. And apparently, one of the refrigerators needs to be in the front of the house. So I guess there's not a better spot for it. So, and when the fan goes on, it's really loud. It's like like that, right? And so for me, that just gives me something to work with, because there's a sense like, gosh, that's so not feng shui. You know, and just the feeling of it. And that's what I mean, putting it into practice into anything that arises. There's a way that, you know, the feeling of that. And then what I notice with anything like this, it's a sense of relief, and it might come back around again, and then another sense of relief until it's just like not a thing anymore. It's just like, it's like white noise.
Like the neighbor with your guitar.
The guitar neighbor, yeah, that was the best. That was the best neighbor ever. But any sounds, smells, whatever. People living next to the geothermal, that was another one. You know, people would smell something and get pretty bummed out, and they would always come around me and tell me how I needed to move, or even like I'm unconscious because I live next to the geothermal and it doesn't bother me. But just anything that comes up can be used. So instead of making it about this is in the world, it's of the world, it's like it's of a dream. I made it like that because I wanted it like that. And it's perfect.
So the theory of perspectivalism is what you're speaking of?
I have no idea what that means.
A matter of perspective. You can change as many perspectives as you want. So it's like, oh, my perspective of being bored, my perspective of being angry, my perspective of being happy, just all these perspectives.
Yeah, they're all the same. They're all really the same. So you could say there's two perspectives. There's a perspective of truth, or there's a perspective of the illusion. So like all those perceptions, all those perspectives that have to do with the world being real, to me that's just one. It's just one general thing. And then there's the perspective of the spirit, or as I like to say, the interpretation of the spirit, which makes all of it meaningless. All of it's unreal.
Yeah, the Book of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, and it talks about Solomon lived out everything, did everything, and he's like at the end of the book, says it's all meaningless.
Vanity.
It's all. I'm like, oh, and I read it at 6 years old. I'm like, what's the point of life?
Oh, good. Good. That's awesome.
Answer right in the beginning of life.
Yeah.
It's all meaningless. Enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's way more enjoyable that way when you know that it's meaningless, but there's also the fearful defenses, and that's what you see coming up all the time. That's what you see coming up, you know, day in, day out. Even someone cuts you off, you know, it's anything at all. It's showing that defensive mechanism at play. And you have an opportunity to make a choice and kind of like wear out that defensive mechanism so it doesn't keep on coming back forever. You know, it's not eternity, but it could feel like forever because it's like fighting against it instead of going with it, kind of like leaning into it. And gratitude for whatever a person might be bringing up or a situation might be bringing up. Gratitude for the government, for the COVID thing, for whatever they're doing with the COVID thing, you know. That changes everything. When you come to gratitude with it, that's like, that's powerful, you guys. It's on a subtle level that no one sees. You're not going to get credit for it. But you know, you're not going to get worldly credit for it, but there's a lot of gratitude coming your way when you're willing to see it like that, when you're willing to be like, thank you. Even if it doesn't feel like thank you, just in opening up to that, you start to see how you can embrace this. It's like, oh, they're giving me exactly what I need. Number one, to play out my fucking patterns. The patterns, you know, they need to play out for you to see them. You know, that's how it gets revealed. That's how the whole thing gets revealed, is your patterns play out. So that's everything, and everyone is deserving of your gratitude because of that. And then you get way less of the kind, you know, like people getting mad at you and stuff like that. Like I still hear stories from some of my friends about, like, you know, getting looks when they go out or getting yelled at or stuff like that. Watch your energy. Watch your energy with that. Because you made them like that. You taught them how to be like that. And notice where the thoughts go. Notice where the thoughts go about, hey, how about this one? Thinking that you know the right way to do the government. All the opinions are made up just for conflict, just for making conflict, just for making it seem like you know. Yeah, but when it comes to nothing's happening here, and I'm making it for this, then who knows? Who knows? For everyone who thinks that they know the truth about the world, about something happening in the world, someone else holds the opposite belief. And you could say they're equally true because they're believed in. And they're also equally part of the illusion, so they're untrue. And you know, belief in your opinions and stuff is what holds up the world. So why not just say, I don't know? I have no idea. You know, and taking these positions, of course it's going to lead to upset. Taking any position in the world, of course it is. If you think you know better than someone how something should be, and they're just doing it against your will, they're doing it to you against your will. Isn't that a good one? And something needs to be pushed against. The idea that something needs to be pushed against. If you look at, wow, the opposite is also just as true. So there's the idea that vaccines are harmful to the body, and there's the idea that vaccines are healthy for the body, and they're actually equally true. And depending on what person you're asking about it, they will be vehemently sure that their version is true. It's hilarious. So my son tells me he thinks vaccinations are good. You know, he goes online all the time. He goes, I think vaccinations are good. And I go, oh, do you want to get vaccinated? And he's like, not right now. Like, all right, just let me know, you know.
You'll take them.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, it just plays out that way. It just expresses that way. If you really know that they're equally true and nothing's happening here. So it's not like trying to prevent a person from doing something that you decide, like through my conditioning and everything that I learned, I'm not getting a fucking vaccination. It's not happening. I mean, as far as I know, I guess if someone has a gun, I might. I don't know. But I'm not going to like cruise down there for one, like just randomly.
Like kids.
Yeah, you got to find me first. But you know, if my kid believes in it, there's no problem. There's no problem.
Have they been vaccinated?
My kids?
Yeah.
Some have and some haven't. Blaze was the last one. He got some. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing that can harm a person. There's nothing that can really harm a person too. I mean, if you see a person running in front of a train, that's one thing. You're probably not even going to think about it. You're probably going to go tackle them, or you might just watch them in amazement. I don't know. But but when it comes to these belief things, they're equal. They're really just equal. Are they good for you? Or are they bad for you? Is meat good for you? Is meat bad for you? It's the same kind of thing. You know, is salad good for you or is salad bad for you? You know? Yeah, raw food, cooked food. Yeah, it's all just like that. So you know, it's just like with kids. What I notice is with kids, you can be as free with kids as you could be with yourself. So it's a really good mirror. It's a really good mirror. That shows you a lot right there. Like, where are your beliefs? And, you know, are you raising alarms for people too? Are you raising alarms for people? Like, hey, you know, if you do that, you're going to, what? You take a vaccine? You know, just letting people have their beliefs and have them play it out, because it is meaningless. And whatever we made up about it, we're just, for one thing, even seeing a teeny tiny little part of the illusion that's being made up. And really just making up some conditioning so we could have a position to butt up against other positions.
So what happens when we take mushrooms or acid or ayahuasca or peyote?
What about it?
I don't know, like whatever we're seeing in that trip. Communicating with whatever.
Right.
Is that the illusion world, or is that something that's beyond?
What it is. It's some of the conditioning being relaxed. It's just some of the so it's like you're seeing through a little bit, like some of that conditioning that's just kind of playing in the background and cropping up all throughout the day. It's being relaxed. That stuff, that conditioning is like this tension that's been built. It's this tension that's built up. And a lot of them are going unnoticed. Even when the thoughts are cropping up, they're going unnoticed. But they're getting believed, are unnoticeably getting believed again, because there's not that alertness to them. So when you take when you take a substance like that, what you're doing is encouraging your mind, allowing your mind to relax. Just take a little break from all that stuff. So when you're not holding the world up in the way that you normally do, then it starts to look different. Does some wild stuff sometimes.
Is that because you have the belief that it will do that, not actually because it's having an effect on you?
It can't have an effect. Yeah, it definitely doesn't have an effect. But we've made these effects seem real through our belief. So it's just like the same thing, you know, like if you put your hand under scalding water, the water didn't do it either, you know. It's a belief playing out. That's all. So you don't give power to those things. Give all power to your mind. Like even in the example about the scalding water, give all power to your mind. You didn't make a mistake in making the water too hot. There was no mistake about it. You know, that was exactly the way it was meant to play out, because that's the way you wanted it to be. You know, and when you give all power to the mind like that, that changes everything. That starts to reverse the ego's thinking. That, you know, something can affect you in the world. No, you set it up like that. Even the turning on the water and everything like that, and making it as if you have a body that can be scalded, you know, as if you have a body that can, you know, get high. All the high effects come from the mind. And it's not a matter of whatever it is you do, you know. It's not a matter of whatever it is you do. And that's where people get tripped up on the content of the world. And whatever it is that you find yourself doing, that is the content of the world. So it's not in that. It's not in that. You don't have to look to that at all. You could just look right past that and get the feelings that are coming up. Notice what you're thinking, because you'll see that the thoughts are trying to identify you with the action. Ah, damn it. I shouldn't have turned the water on that hot. Or what am I going to do if I don't get ayahuasca on the regular? I need that shit. I don't know.
Shadows the sled.
Yeah. I was walking through Home Depot just this week, and really just like all of a sudden it hit me. I was going all the way to the other end, so it was kind of like a long walk, you know, where the restroom is all the way back there. And as I'm walking, it just occurred to me, oh my goodness, I'm not walking. This whole thing is coming to me. And it, you know, it's like, I'm shown that, but then the experience of it is really different. And I wasn't on any ayahuasca or anything, nothing. But you know, but just in getting the experience, whoa, there's no one walking here. It's just coming as a matter of course. It seems like there's legs moving me through Home Depot. But there's nothing like that. The whole me and Home Depot and everything. And it's fun because I've been saying that, I've been sharing that with you guys for a while. But I got the experience just like randomly walking through Home Depot, and I was just like so stoked walking through Home Depot, looking around like, oh my goodness. And all the people, you know, you start to have those kinds of experiences, and it's like, oh, that's just so awesome and amazing. But the opening to it, it's to all those different thoughts. It's kind of like a reward for all of the different thoughts coming up, and them just being allowed to fall back down because they're meaningless. because then you get that space. It's kind of like taking a psychedelic. It is kind of like taking a psychedelic, because in the space, that mind's relaxed. So, in that relaxed sense, you start to see through it, actually like perceive through the illusion. And that makes it really fun to see everything like that. Yes.
Do you think that people can come back to the state of love without any punishment if they did something apparently wrong?
What the heck?
Like if you just
How's punishment going to help them get back to love?
so like nothing. If you just let people play out whatever patterns they need to, can they?
What else are you going to do? But let them play out the patterns. Like, what else are you going to do?
So if there was like no jail, for instance, or prison,
If there was no jail or
would
prison,
there be chaos?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of perception it's going to be. But, likely. It's all the illusion is chaos anyways.
Yeah.
So, and there aren't any jails or prisons really.
Yeah.
We make that up too. We make believe that there are. It's not, again, it's not about doing anything in the world. It's not about setting the prisoners free, because there's no such thing as guilt. There's not prisoners. They're having it their way. Everyone's having it their way.
Yeah, I don't understand like that you created it. You wanted it like that.
Not created.
Or you wanted it?
Yes.
that way?
Yes,
Who is
wanting it like that.
Like the greater you? Or
The part of the mind that thought itself separate. The part of the mind that thought itself separate wants to uphold the sense of separation, and that's how it upholds the sense of separation, by making these things up that are apparently upsetting to it. So, that, because that's the guilty projection. That's the thought that there's separation, and it's put out into the world. The whole world is meant to hold that thought of separation and kind of keep it buried. But it doesn't really keep it buried from within you, because you need to keep on seeing the world as guilty, so that you don't look within and see the feeling of guilt that you made for yourself by that thought. So the world keeps the distraction going. It keeps there being a distraction to keep from seeing what you made of yourself in your mind. See, we all made something of ourselves in our mind in order to make us appear as if we're mortal. See, we made something of ourselves. And to distract ourselves from knowing that we made something of ourselves, we are projecting it into the world. And we made something of ourselves in the mind. We even projected onto ourselves as in the self-image. Some of you might hear, like I do from time to time, "You're a fucking idiot." Thanks. That's awesome. It's just that the ego is vicious. The ego is just vicious. And the ego finds things wrong in the world, one of them being your apparent self, your self-image. Because the last thing the ego wants is for you to look at the thought that you made, what you made of yourself, and make that responsible for what you're perceiving, instead of making the world responsible for the perception that you're having. So it's all a distraction. It's all to distract you. So when you say, "I made this," and I like to make distinction between making and creating, because it's not the same as creating. Creating is real. Creating is reality. Making things up is dream. So it's like, I'm dreaming this. You could say it like that. I'm dreaming this because I'm afraid of losing my identity as an ego. I'm dreaming this because I'm afraid. See? And it's always, you're always afraid of the same thing. You're always afraid of the same thing. It's like people think they're afraid of something in the world. Oh, I'm afraid of that. I don't know. What is it? What is it now?
Virus.
Make it up. Yeah. I'm afraid that this is going to happen. So and so thing is going to happen. You're not afraid of that. You're not really afraid of that. You think you're afraid of it. But all fear is fear. All fear is based on fear of punishment for thinking that you separated yourself. That's all. You're not afraid of that thing that you see. You made that to project the fear. You made it to make it seem like something outside of you is holding it. Something outside of you is holding your guilt. And then you get afraid of something outside of you, something that seems to be outside of you. It's funny and fun. I love to play with that. And you could love to play with it too. If you see what kind of healing it can bring.
That's what you're doing for us. You're presenting a new toy.
Presenting a new toy?
Yeah. Try playing with this one.
Yeah, the thoughts are like toys you can play with. Exactly.
So I'm sorry. Another person's behavior is because of your thought.
And yes, another person's behavior. For one thing, there's not another person. What you perceive of a person is totally make-believe. You can't see them as they are in this world. You're not seeing. We're not seeing.
Like me myself, I'm
perceiving.
like, what am I? I'm a spirit in the body. I'm beyond this, and I'm like sensing what I am. You know, it's like, and then you are the same. It's like, wow, like who are you? You're not what I'm seeing, like you said.
Right. We're all the same one.
Yeah.
We're all the same one, and you could say we're light. You know, it doesn't really give it a good description, but it comes a little bit close. You know, you could say we're all one light. You know, and whenever we have a perception of another person, and they're giving us some bad behavior or something like that, they're giving us a gift. The interpretation that there is behavior and that it's bad is completely coming from our mind. So they're giving us a gift for appearing as they are not. Just so that we can forgive our own guilt. That we can forgive that. And you know, you don't need any forgiveness like from God, because to God you didn't do anything. To you, you did something though. To you, you did something really bad and really scary. And this world is like a hiding place from the punishment that you think you're gonna get if you ever leave this world.
Isn't that what death is? We get the death sentence in the end.
Yep, every time. Yep. But that also, you know, like I talked about before, that also can fade the idea of death. The whole idea of death, we're also upholding that. We could see that in this lifetime. We could totally see that shift to where we don't see death anymore. It's ripe for it. The mind is ripe for it right now. You know, it's just a matter of noticing when the death thoughts arise. Anything that's vicious is killing. Anything that's vicious is making more death. So it's in noticing when those deathly thoughts come up and letting them to be healed. And basically, you know, we talked about the only thing you can do is allow the miracle. And allowing the miracle is just looking at this dream as a dream. Because that changes everything. You probably noticed it. When you're willing to know this world as a dream, things lighten up.
We could do a round of row your boat right now. Gently down the stream like it's a dream.
But why would we? Okay. Anyways.
I find it
interesting experience of the guilt seems to go both ways. Like I feel guilty for things I've done in the world, but then I feel guilty for kind of relaxing in my joy that I'm like leaving something. Like it's a trip for me.
So you feel guilty for something you think you did in the world, and then also guilty for what now?
Like when I relax and start to feel joy and like that, it starts to disappear.
Oh, right.
Guilty about that.
Yeah, it's just guilt. It comes up all different ways.
Yeah.
Isn't it good?
Yeah,
Do you love it?
it's really intense.
Yeah.
I do, but I guess there's this.
Do you see how the intensity is like a fire? Like you can use that fire to burn through the illusion.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the intensity. Yeah, just getting that guilty feeling and letting it go. Yes, just being like yes to it and thankful to the person or situation or whatever is involved in it. Because that person, if there's another person involved with it, there usually is. There's another person involved with it. You know, you're also setting them free. You're also setting them free. Remember, they're not the way you see them, so they're awakening in your mind. They're what you make of them in your own perception.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it is.
Accountability.
It's real
It's
responsibility.
better to be like,
It's real responsibility, but it's not for feeling bad. You know, it's not for feeling bad about yourself because you're giving yourself a gift. And you know, you could say they're giving you a gift, only there's only one of us, so they're not separate from you. But you know, as you know, from the point where it seems like things are separate, if you are willing to see that they're giving you a gift and it's kind of like this exchange, like thank you, then you know you're really accepting the responsibility. The ego's way of accepting responsibility is more like, if you see this, you must be fucked up. If you see this and you made it, you must be fucked up. If you see a COVID virus and you made that, something's wrong with you. but you made it for a really good purpose. You know, you made all of it for a really good purpose. You made the COVID, yes, you made it. And it's for a really good purpose. It's not for making you guilty. Making you guilty is the ego's purpose. It's not your purpose. It's not God's purpose for you. You can say it's not God's plan for you to be guilty. That's your plan for yourself, to feel guilty about things. So if you look at that, if you look at how the guilt comes up about what you're perceiving, and that'll help you to see through the guilt in and of itself. Okay, in and of itself.
And God doesn't perceive this world?
Oh no, God doesn't perceive. God does not perceive. So there's no, there in God's mind, all it is the son went astray. That's all. And the plan of God, the will of God is for the son, the child, whatever you want to call it, to come back home. To realize that they are home already. And that's why God sent the Holy Spirit. That guide, the guide that's in charge of the part of the mind that's lifting you higher, that's speaking the truth to you. Always.
I believe that it's possible within our lifetime to ascend, the ascension.
Good.
Because it's
Good.
part of the rapture. I mean, the rapture, right? It's like you're not going to face death. You don't have to. It's like Enoch.
Yeah, I don't have to.
He just disappeared.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I want to talk. I want to hang out with Enoch.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, all the bodies will just disappear. They'll just reveal what's really here.
Yeah. That's a cool happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, just in being attuned to it, it's going to happen no matter what. It's a matter of time. But time, being an illusion, can seem to last forever. So there has to be a choice made too.
Yeah.
But in a relaxed way, in a non-judgmental, peaceful, not making you guilty way. See, it's just a choice for the truth. It's just a choice to feel better than you do right now. That's all. It's not that easy for the ego, but it's super natural for you. If it's not natural, you're identified with the ego. And the ego thinks that you are guilty. That's what the ego survives on. It doesn't have any life without your guilt.
So you say that there's like the only choice you can make is between the two thought systems of fear, the ego, and love, the Holy Spirit. in
Yes,
mind?
good.
And so is the one, like you are the one making the choice as like the watcher?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say as awareness, or you could say as consciousness in a dream. In a dream, you're relating with everything that you perceive as consciousness. So in dreaming, you become consciousness, right? And then consciousness is relating with everything that's being perceived. So you can say, if that helps you to see, as that, you have a choice. Normally, you don't have a choice because you don't have any consciousness. There's no choosing and creating. It's just automatic. It's creative.
So free will is the choice.
You could say that's the free will then. That choice between those two things. That's a very important thing though. That choice between those two things, that is very important. That is dominion over the world. The distraction is thinking that you have all these other choices. And especially why you came to your choice. That'll be very convoluted. Especially with breaking up or ending relationships or moving, for instance. You know, making things into reasons. What gives them their cause is the mind. Even if you think you like something or don't like it. That's not you, it's the ego. It can like and not like all at once. You'll always be guided to make the decision for joy. The decision that you could say uplifts you in joy. If you feel worthy of it. That's a thing. If you, the big if. You don't make these decisions, but decisions come according to who your guide is. So if your guide is the ego, then you're going to make decisions that apparently have ill effects. Which they don't really. But it's made up in the moment because it's a guilty feeling. Yes.
Is orgasm something that is like a potent thing that's making us think that we want to keep this world and further like this guilty feeling, or it's seemingly like a connection, like taking mushrooms, like a connection to like relaxing into less of the illusion?
Well, it really depends how you take it.
Sure.
Because, you know, again, you're talking about the content of the world, the actual orgasm or sex or whatever. You're talking about the content of the world. You're not talking about the power of your mind. So it could be looked at either way. You know, the way the ego would take it is, I'm going to just go out and get my pleasure on. I'm going to go get my pleasure. I'm going to show God that I don't need God. I can just like go around and get some big dicks to play with, or whatever it is you want. I know you don't want dicks, but 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 you know, and the other thing is not making a big deal out of it. Not making it, and that's the thing is, you know, with sex, it's like a big ego game to use this thing to make a big deal about it. It's really not a big deal. It's just normal, like like eating or whatever, you know. It's not like you should or shouldn't do it. If you feel like abstaining, great. I felt like abstaining before. It's fun, you know. You feel like being a whore, go ahead. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. It's the thing is, how are you using it? Are you using it to make guilty? Are you using it to upset yourself? Does someone owe you something now because you had sex with them? Does someone think you owe them something now because you have sex with them? Are you feeling like you're getting sexual predatored, for instance? You know, it's like, how are you using it? So that's what it really comes down to. It's like with sex, it's like, yeah, that's proof right there. You get that pleasure. I started to notice that when I was probably in my early 30s. I was like, shit, this sucks, because, you know, like, I want to have sex. I want to have the pleasure, but it seems like something bad is going to come out of it because I'm going to get pregnant probably. And then they're, you know, having an abortion and all these different things. And it's like, why does it suck so much? You know, why can't I just have this pleasure without what the next outcome is? Worried about being pregnant, you know, yeast infection, whatever comes out of it. But that's just the way the things in the world are set up, you know. So if you find yourself engaging in sex, then just being alert to what's being made of it. But there's no problem with that's not going to keep you in the world longer or help you escape. Only your mind's going to do that.
I was just going to say, maybe it's just like magic in a dream. Like what she was talking about, the orgasm. I'm assuming what you mean is that it's like this really spiritual experience can be for some people. You know, this feeling of like connection and deep union with another person, and it can be used like that too, like as magic, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's like magic in a dream. That's exactly it. And the orgasm is nothing. It isn't anything, you know. It's like, it still keep that general
Boosting magic. It helps boost your your health. It helps you protect you from COVID-19.
Okay, all right, I'll take that. I also heard smoking cigarettes does that, so that's cool. Yeah, you know, it's like kind of like the ego's game to go, okay, you need this to be healthy, and then there's a fear, oh, what if I don't have this? Oh my gosh, what if I don't have sex? That'll be the worst. One of my friends asked me some years ago, he came to Wisdom Dialogues, and he said, isn't sex an essential need? And I was like, what if you don't have a dick?
Yeah.
So then you can't awaken? Like, it's not essential to awakening is like that you have sex. What if you don't have the thing to even do sex with? You know? Now he's like a monk or something like that. Having no sex.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. You're wearing his thing. That looks familiar. One friend asked me yesterday, how do I get a really good man? And I go, well, number one is knowing that you don't need one.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And she's like, but don't they want to be needed? It's like, they'll get over it. They'll get over that. It's up to you to keep on getting that sense that you need them reinterpreted. Like, even when you're already with them. Like, if I decide I need Tony, then things start going to shit. Because then he's supposed to be something. But if I don't need him and we're just hanging out, we're just hanging out. For decades. But as soon as I need him, then I need him to perform a certain way. then that's where the daggers start coming out, and it totally convolutes the whole thing. And then I'm like, well, second guessing this thing. What am I even doing here? Stuff like that, you know. But if you don't need them, then it's just fun. Then you don't have any duties, and you're not giving them any duties. Like, he doesn't have any marital duties to me, and I don't have any marital duties either, you know, or anything else, business partner, anything.
It just seems so like a yo-yo, like to be in it and like living it, but knowing that, and then it's like,
Why does it seem like a yo-yo?
because it's like, yeah, I'm in a body, and I will constantly go back to thinking it's real, and then remember and go back and remember and go back. And
Perfect.
it's like, to do that with a man is just like freaking like the closer it gets, it's like just what you say. I'm like, that feels impossible.
It's not impossible.
I get
It's-
it from knowing
yeah.
you, but I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see through it. Just keep on looking at it. Every time it comes up, just keep on looking at it. You're playing out a pattern. You're making him behave a certain way and say certain things to you just so you can get the same feeling that you're used to.
Yeah,
It's ingrained, and it's the ego's safety, and that's why it seems impossible. Because it's the ego's safety that you believe in it.
doesn't want to let go.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing. That body isn't even real. That body is like, it is formed in the moment in your mind. I've seen it come together. I've seen the body come together. It's just like put together, just along with all the scenes. It's just put together in the mind just for getting the experience. So when you see that it's put together like that, you become much more open to seeing through your pattern, because it's your pattern that's playing out. And it'll keep on playing out. It just keeps on, it keeps on spinning. That's what I mean about the thing spinning. And it keeps it spinning. It like kind of like puts a spin on it when you believe in it. It kind of like, it's like a top, you know? It's like you just put another spin on it. Give it some momentum. It's just giving it some momentum every time you believe in it. And when you think it seems impossible, that thought is also serving the ego. So when you notice that the thought that is occurring to you is serving the ego, you just kind of like take a step back and notice what that thought is doing to you. So kind of like get the feeling of it. It's good that you notice the thought that it's impossible, but then you can go past it too. You can just go right past that thought. It's gonna occur to you. It's gonna occur to you, so you'll just go, all right, I fucking give up. You know, never mind. But you're not gonna be able to do that either, because of the call of your spirit. So the suffering keeps on going until you finally go, okay, yeah, it just has to be. I mean, in the moment where a really big breakthrough happened for me, like where it just changed everything, where it was just like I felt like I wanted to really scream at someone or punch them or something like that, just like do something major. And there was just like a split second of clarity. And then in my mind, it was just, help me, Jesus. And the help came instantly. It's amazing how the help isn't being asked for in a situation like that. Where you're just like really, you know, it has to be also a sincere asking. Like you really want to see through this. You don't want to go punch the person. You don't want to scream at them again.
Is that bad?
No, but it's not good or bad. It's neutral. It's neutral. It's just showing you what's coming out of your mind, and it's also perpetuating the illusion. So it's kind of like setting out more reactions in time. So and the reason why I say it's not bad is because if you find yourself hollering at someone or hitting someone, forgive yourself right away, because it didn't happen.
Well, the person getting hit might not agree.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That they may not, but that's not necessary to have their agreement for you to know, because they agree below what you're seeing, like kind of like behind the scenes of what you're seeing of them not agreeing. They totally agree that nothing's happening here. Your dream, it's a dream. How could you have possibly
But
done
everything
anything?
that happens to you is you give your consent to it anyway, right?
Yes, it's like you gave written consent. It's like you gave. One of my friends was sharing with me about how she was spending the night at this older guy's house, known sexual predator, which is pretty funny. and she wound up finding herself being finger banged in the middle of the night by the guy. So so it's like I gave my written consent to that before it ever happened. But then at the same time, it's like, hey, what are you doing finger banging me? I did not tell you could do that. It's like, but you see from behind there, hey, I'm not into that. I didn't ask you to finger bang me, and oh, you don't want me to do that? No, I don't want you to do that. Thank you. But behind the scenes, and knowing that you've given the written consent, that's the way I look at it. Like, I've given written consent. There's no anger toward the person. There's no upset about it. It just is what it is. And it's kind of like matter of fact. A matter of fact, I'm not into that. It's okay. You're still my friend. I love you. I'm just not spending the night at your fucking house anymore.
So even through that, if you don't have a conversation with the person, can they play that pattern out, or would they stop doing that to people?
Well, here's the thing. They don't want to be doing anything that's taken as harmful by other people. Okay? And so someone who's a known sexual predator means that they've been having the perception of themselves doing things that seem to harm another person, and that's hurtful. So when you demonstrate to them that you cannot be harmed by them, that's healing.
Okay.
See? So that's how it gets
Would
healed.
healing be punching this individual in the face?
So now you're talking about the content.
Okay.
So that's not meaningful. That's really not meaningful.
Be a peaceful
Yeah, of course the person could take a punch in the face as I must have done something against you, and that's why you're retaliating. So if you remember that you're always in communication with your own mind, so you're either making yourself out to be guilty, or you're accepting your innocence. A person, even in a situation like this, a person that's doing something like that is asking for forgiveness. See? And so if you're giving them, and they're asking for it in your name, that's the thing. It's you. It's you asking for forgiveness, just coming in this particular form. See? It doesn't mean you can't have boundaries. Those are also done for you. They're totally done for you. In fact, your boundaries get to be of a certain vibration that people just know not to fuck with you like that. They just know not to. They know it's not doing. No, it's not. They're going. It's so energetic. Yeah, it's totally energetic. And if you play a victim to it over and over again, it's going to keep on occurring. Not only that, it underlies the guilt in your brother's mind, you can say. The guilty feeling that they have about themselves. They can't help it if they're doing the sexual predator thing. How would you like to be a sexual predator? Wouldn't you want some help? So that's what they're asking. That's what they're saying. They're saying, help me, please. Help me, please. Am I going to be guilty again? They may not even know they're asking that. That's okay. They're asking it in your name again. They're asking it for you could see yourself through these clouds of delusion the ego made, and recognizing your own innocence. Every time you give the innocence away, it's received by you. It's like that's the exchange. When you offer the innocence, that's what you know about yourself. That's why Jesus would say, judge thee not, lest ye be judged. Because immediately you're judged when someone is something. Or you start to make, Oh no, gosh, this happened to me again. Oh my gosh, how do I keep on getting molested? And you know, I've had that kind of situation, like my whole experience, probably from the time I was like 6 until I was like 20 or something. I kept on getting molested, you know. So I know the pattern. It's like, Jesus, is that just how guys are? Or is this just gonna go on all the time, you know? And then there was just like a realization, oh, it's me. It's my pattern. I don't have to have anything like that. You know, sometimes I kiss a lot of people, and some guys like to get frisky with me a little bit. Like they might like parse their lips a little bit and they kiss me or make it a little bit wet. And I'll just say, hey, I'm not into that. You know, I like it. If you want to kiss me on the lips, you have a closed mouth. Thank you. Try to stick your tongue in there? No, nothing like that. Next thing you know, their hands on your ass. But it's playful. It's all playful. It's giving you an opportunity for an expression, you know, and really to make that choice for the truth. That's where the expression comes from. That's why you could have a playful expression with it. That's why you can have a fun, playful expression with it.
I'm sorry, I just have so many questions. So many questions. I'm gonna go like to the worst possible scenario about this
Okay,
whole thing.
that's
So,
cool.
Child trafficking,
Uh-huh.
sex slaves,
Good.
you know, just pimps and whole prostitutes. Like, you know, it's like, how is that perceived in that? Because in my eyes and the common sense of the common people, it's bad. No human should be subject to pedophilia, you know, children getting raped or slaves, you know.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a big issue right
Yes.
now. And look, what is that view from your...
It's all the same. It's all one thing. It really is all one thing. It's just guilt playing out. You know, it gets resolved in the light, but it doesn't get resolved through making wrong. It doesn't get resolved through fear. It doesn't get resolved through feeling bad. Any kind of feeling bad. That's not how it gets resolved. It can only get resolved in the light. See, the same methods have been applied for however long the earth seems to have been in existence, and shit keeps on getting worse. Maybe the technology is better. You know, we can get people on the phone, FaceTime anytime we want, talk to them face to face. But as far as just like, you know, chaos and people being mean to each other, that kind of stuff, that has not improved. People are still being mean as fuck to each other, obviously. You know, that hasn't improved through the world's way of trying to do it. And you don't need anyone else. You don't need anyone else to affect the healing. And, you know, that's the thing with, you know, that decision to stop with Wisdom Dialogues. It was like so clear to me. Oh my goodness, I could be so much more effective on a subtle level. On a subtle level. There's no need to come and talk. There's no need to come and it's fun. But on that subtle level, that's where all of the changes take place. And so it's up to each of us to look at that fear that comes up about these things, or the feeling bad or anything like that. And remind ourselves, I made it like this. I made it like this. Oh my goodness. I made up child trafficking. I'm the one. See? And I made it up. I made it up just so that I can get forgiveness. No one's harmed through this. No one's really harmed through it. I don't feel bad for making it up. It's not like I was alone in making it up either. You know, we're all one, and we're all making up these scenarios to make up the illusion. So you could say even the ones that are getting trafficked are also setting themselves up like that so that they could have the forgiveness experience and also offer it to their captors and everything else. This thing is playing out stories for a purpose. So it doesn't matter how heinous you make it. These bodies are meaningless, and at the end of it, it's just a dream, and everyone wakes up and goes, nothing happened. Nothing even happened.
So the pain and the pleasure the body experiences is meaningless?
Yes. Yes, and they're always attracting the opposite. Joy is before that, before the pain and pleasure. It's like there's just joy. Yeah. And the joy, being who you are, is always guiding you on how you can relax more. Like relaxing blocks. They're blocks. It's like blocks to love. And it's a block to your being worthy of the joy that you are. So it's always with everything that you with everything that you engage with in the world, with everything that you go toward, everything that you do, your hobbies, your interests, everything like that. There's like this arc of joy, and it'll rise with excitement, with pleasure. You could say with pleasure, with excitement, with inspiration, and then it'll hit the top and kind of start curving down. When it starts to curve down, that's where it's just a willingness to see what the guidance is next. Because what goes on with something that seems like it's really joyful, it ends up becoming a habit. See? And then you can't see that. Even if you're talking about like playing an instrument, you know, some kind of relationship, a job that you have, anything, you know, when you start to see that, it's fading. It's like it's waning and it's going into something else. So you open up to it. For me, I get really excited. You know, I get like an excited feeling. It's like, ooh, what fun. It's not something bad, but you can see this definite, it's also been called a thread of bliss. You can see the thread of bliss when you're not making reasons for why the joy is going on a downward side of the arc, not making any reasons, because it's going to be picked up again. But as soon as you release the world from having done something to you, and then all the decisions are made in your favor, because the trajectory of everything is to keep on increasing the amount of joy. Because through sharing joy with the world, that's how the world gets transformed. Joy is the truth. It's the truth of who you are. So in knowing that you don't have any duties, there's no duties, you can always go with what is joyful for you. And at that time and in that moment and hearing your guidance, it's always showing you. It's always, the Spirit's always talking to you. It's always giving you your direction and doing everything for you as well. Even talking to people. Even if you find yourself punching them in the face, like you say, you know, it's like
Joy in me. Pop, pop.
I love that. Oh, whoops, that's the reaction when I get finger banged. It's like finger bang, poo. That's what happens. Finger bang, fist bang. It's like a reaction. It's a loving reaction.
Tough love.
It seems that the mind is on the verge right now. It seems that the mind is on the verge. It's really exciting. It's like anything can come up, anything can pop up, and consciousness is coming to know who you are. So you see the events looking like they're really scary. We've seen this before. Not this particular one, but we've seen how the events of the world get scary before. But the world, you know, the consciousness of the world is way different than it was last time we had something like this. Mm-hmm. You know, people aren't as stuck to their patterns. And people are more willing to see through. And there's nothing else to do but help them with that by seeing through yours. That's your special purpose. Mm-hmm. There's nothing anyone needs to do in the world but there is a very important purpose each one of us has for helping every eye to see. Every eye to see. And we're always being given the ones or the things that get us charged up. And we can see it. And as long as you see it, then it's not just being believed blindly. It's not making more of these stories. You know, maybe we don't have to have another one. Maybe we don't have to have another world crisis. Maybe we'll just see through the illusion of death this time. But we're not going to see through the illusion of death by scaring people. We're not going to be seeing through the illusion of death by making people afraid of what's going on in the world. Nothing's happening. That's the thing. So in demonstrating that nothing's happening, you know, you can go into the store, you can put your mask on and still be totally loving and happy and helpful. You know, people put the hand sanitizer on my hands and everything. I'm like, thank you. You know? It's really sweet.
The whole world, just, we have to be more cleaner now. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That's what they're just reminding us to just take care of ourselves, to be clean, to wash our hands, to just, I don't know. I had this like thought about.
Yeah, that's
the global things
that verse means something completely different though than the way you're interpreting it. It has nothing to do with the world or washing with soap or anything. It's a clean and pure mind. It's a clean and pure mind, because the mind that thinks in separation is thinking in defilement. That's why cleanliness in the mind is next to godliness. It's just that when the ego looks at things, the ego looks at the content. You know what I mean by the content? That's anything that seems to be happening in the world, anything that goes on with your body. There's no directive on how you should be with your body. There's no directive about that spiritually. The Lord doesn't know you have a body. You think you have a body and you actually don't. So it doesn't make any difference, like if you have a bunch of dirt under your fingernails or something. You're talking again about surface things when you're talking about stuff like that. But it's a clean, pure mind isn't accepting any impurities. It's not believing in any impurities. It's not making anyone out to be guilty, including the image of itself. It's not taking its frustrations out on people as if the people are frustrating. You know, like, oh my gosh, you're taking too long, or I was in a hurry and you're taking too long. And it's as if that person is the cause of your frustration, and it's not. There's only one problem. There's only one problem, and that's the thought of separation. There's only one solution, and that's healing. And basically, like I said before, I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. Basically, all you can do is be open to the miracle, which establishes you dream a dream and none of its contents are true. That's all you can do. How easy? How easy is that? Oh, sex trafficking? Okay, perfect. Apply it to that. You know, loud refrigerator? Apply it to that. It doesn't matter. None of them are trivial, really. They're all the same. Dog barking in the middle of the night? Apply it to that. You know, you got a pimple. Apply it to that. Up all night crying and feeling a lot of tension in the body? Apply it to that. See? And nothing's wrong. So if you have the sense that you got a lot of tension and you're feeling really upset, first thing the ego is going to be is like, this is wrong. You shouldn't be feeling like this. You should know better than this. You're not practicing right. This is wrong. Well, the thought that got you there is wrong. And that's why, I've expressed a lot of times, I must be mistaken. if I feel upset. I must be mistaken if I feel upset. That doesn't mean the upset feeling itself is wrong. The upset feeling is totally neutral, and it's giving me exactly what I need. It's showing me right now when I feel upset that I believe something that is a defilement against myself. You could say it makes me dirty, like an unclean mind. See? And an unclean mind is going to be an upset mind. It's going to be a tense mind. It's going to be a confused mind. But that's not really who I am. So all that can pass. It can come up. It can show itself too. It's fine. Let's say I'm laying in bed and my body's so tense and I feel so stressed, and I'm not that. See? I'm not that. I'm behind that. I'm watching the show of that. That's why there's no problem. That's why it's like, oh, great. How fun. Last week, one of my friends was telling me about all kinds of stress and tension. And then I go home, and the next thing you know, I'm sensing it. And I'm like, yay. Hooray. You know, I'm laying in bed and I realize my back is like stiff as a board. It seems like I'm like clenching at my knees and stuff, and my fists start going, and I'm like, this is awesome, you know, because that's not happening to me. That's not happening to me, and I know what it's for. So there's no problem with it. There's no problem with anything that comes up. You know, for God, there's no problem. So why would there be a problem for you? See, that's the thing. And the world's always going to try to present to you that there must be a problem. Even, you know, I have a massage therapist. And the massage therapist, the last time he massaged me, he goes, I notice a lot more tension in your body, you know, like something's wrong. And I go, oh, that's great. I'm glad you're here. You know, that was a perfect time. It's like, it's not like there's a problem with anything that's being perceived. And the funny thing is, you know, when he came to give me the massage, he said he notices a lot more tension in my body. And I notice I feel way less tense and way more relaxed. So it's funny how these things just switch. They like twist. And I notice when someone sees a problem, this is how therapists are too. It's really fun. They're kind of tuned to seeing problems. When someone sees a problem, it's not necessarily you're having a perception of that particular problem. You know, that's for their interpretation. Now, what's for you is hearing that and whether you're going to make it meaningful. And I noticed time and time again, because I've had a lot of different massage therapists, acupuncturists, stuff like that. Whenever someone tells me that there's some kind of extra tension or this or that, there's a sense like, is that really true? Is that really true? That's not that whatever's trying to be related right there is not something that is uplifting. It's not really true. There isn't a body. The therapists are trained, programmed to find problems, and then that's what makes their service valuable. That's why you pay for the service instead of just having a nice massage and you just like enjoying the massage. I'm fixing myself somehow now. Yeah, making the body real. Exactly. So you can get a massage without making the body real. And you can have any kind of, you know, acupuncture, even if you find yourself going over to the doctor to take the COVID shot or whatever. You know, you can have all that and still not be making the body real just because of where you are and recognizing these things. You just see them for what they are. So it's like, you know, as an individuated perception in the mind, you're wired to play out a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with whatever kind of modality that might be used. Just don't make it into something. The doctor gives you a diagnosis of COVID, for instance. You know, it's like I made it like that. And that could change in an instant. It could shift in an instant. It's like, but it's like I made it like that. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that diagnosis. Like, you know, like the masseuse telling, oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know I have extra tension today. And then he's like, but you're releasing it really easily. Because you're pointing to an illusion, you know? You're pointing to an illusion. There's not pushing against it. There's not making that thought real. And there's not arguing with it either. It's like, okay, good. Glad you're here to rub it out.
Like you said something recently that I want to point out, like that it's like making love with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like these interactions that even if they're seemingly painful or tense, it's
Yeah.
like, that's our awakening. Like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yes.
mm.
Yes. It's like the world is showing you who you are. It's revealing to you who you are. It's also, you know, from the ego's perspective, and the if you look at the particular contents of the world, it's showing you who you're not. But if you look at what it's being presented to you as far as how you're really relating with it energetically, then it's totally different. It's totally there to serve you. And it's there to reveal to you, not by the particulars of it. So you're not looking at the particulars of the world. Hey, world, show me who I am. But you're watching and you're relating with the world. That's showing you. You're finding that thread of bliss. You're finding that arc of joy is like love making, but it's way deeper and it lasts longer. The orgasm lasts way longer. I'll tell you that. The orgasm just becomes a persistent way. And then if you have another physical orgasm with that included, that's great too. But it's not necessary. So hooray, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's have music.
Yay!
Yay. We're having some Leia music now. Oh yeah, since this was my last Wisdom Dialogues, you can find all my videos on YouTube. Just go to hopejohnson.org and then you'll find it there. That'll be up, I think. And then podcasts. There's lots of hours on there. Have fun. Here's Leia.
Will this stuff stay on Spotify?
Yeah, I think so. You go all the way back to the beginning.
Do you have it on
2000s.
Apple or no?
Yeah, it's on iTunes.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's on all the things. All right. Thank you, Leia.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much, Hope. Deeply, deeply grateful for all that you share.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to say a few things about the song I'm going to share. It's known as Gate Gate. It's also known as the Heart Sutra or Heart Mantra. And the basic teaching of this is all things are empty, all things are meaningless. It's the realization of no thingness. Emptiness of nothingness does not just mean nothing, it means not being attached to anything, especially your own perceptions and ideas. And it is that understanding that can lead you to see clearly and bring you to joy.
Yay, that's perfect.
And then I just want to read I thought this was interesting. This is from the internet. Somebody's translation of this. This is a Tibetan Buddhist mantra. And so it says here, the 5 skandhas are the 5 components of any individual body, perception, feeling, mental formations, and consciousness. Gate means gone from suffering to the liberation of suffering, gone from forgetfulness to mindfulness, gone from duality into non-duality. Gate means gone. Paragate means gone all the way to the other shore. So this mantra is said in a very strong way. Gone all the way over. In Parasamgate, it means that everyone, the entire Sangha, the entire community of beings, or all of us as all one, are leaving the idea of separateness. Bodhi is the light inside, enlightenment or awakening. You see it, and the vision of reality liberates you. And Swaha is a cry of joy or excitement, like welcome or hallelujah or hooray.
Yay.
So it's only got a few words, this whole mantra. Gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. Gone, all the way gone, everyone gone to the other shore, enlightenment, swaha.
All right.
So yeah, and this particular version is my own rendition of this that came through after a really powerful experience that I had of a God unity experience through a medicine work that I did some years ago. And I was looking for a way to express what I experienced, and then this mantra just perfectly fit. So that's where this is coming from. Gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. 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 Gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha.
No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be free. Because I am in you and you are in me. Because I am in you and you are in me. Oh, thank you.
Yay, mahalo, Leah. So sweet.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hooray.
Yay. They have an Orba song too? Is that what's going
I
on?
have one I can play.
Okay. We're going to have one more song. Since the last was in dialogue, we're doing 2 songs.
sent us a prayer.
This is gonna be the last wisdom.
This is the last wisdom dialogue.
Oh, what about online?
Nope, not doing those either.
Paper towel or toilet paper.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that fun?
No.
No, he says no. But Chitta suggested once a month, so we'll see. We'll see.
How about every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks. Mom goes for every 2 weeks. That's great.
Just have a Wisdom Dialogue study group, and you could hang out and listen to it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's
You
listen to Hope and
geek out on Hope Johnson.
have
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you, Leah.
Now we're going to shift over to some rock and roll.
Well, see, there's actually 2 versions of this song, and I want to do the mellower.
Okay.
version. So,
Cool.
No yelling?
No yelling. No smash guitars. No, this is the lullaby version I think I'm going to play us to finish out on the mellow. But this was a rock song.
Okay.
And, it's called We're the Same. And it used to play on the radio in the 90s by Matthew Sweet.
Oh, I love that song.
You love that song?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Well,
Yay.
I've adjusted it some. I've basically, it's about romantic love, which is a symbol of our oneness, that we're the same. And I've also made it more of a symbol
Nice.
with these words, because it's we're the same as our lover, but also there's these words, baby, we're the same, and like we're the same as the inner child of everyone that we see. We're the same as our own inner child. We're all one, not just lovers, but we're all lovers with the whole world.
Yeah, yeah.
The
that's
world is
for
our
sure.
child, too,
Yeah.
our only child.
Yeah.
It's all there.
It's incest. No, just kidding.
So on some other occasion, I'll play the more rockin' version,
Okay.
but I'm gonna do the lullaby.
Cool.
version. I don't have to speak, and you know what I'm thinking. You don't need to hear what I say. I don't have to ask, 'cause you'll guess what I'm seeking. You don't need to hide what you know, baby. Baby, we're the same as we failed in each other's eyes. Baby, baby, we're the same. You can see it in my eyes when I swear to you. I don't even know just what to do. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's you. Don't even say. And I know how you're feeling. We don't need to see to believe. We can feel the truth. We are bliss. We are healing. We don't need to try to be free. the same as we shine in each other's sky. Baby, baby, we're the same. You can see it in my eyes as I swear to you. You've always known just what is true. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's you. No, we are feeling all of each other's feelings. Always, already, we're one. There's no concealing, baby. Baby, we're the same as we're here in each other's arms. Baby, baby, we're the same. I can feel you in the stars and they're coming through. We know there's nothing left to do. Already free, already new. You're really me. I'm really you.
Yay! What fun! Yay!
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I love you. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho!